In the hushed corridors of Buckingham Palace, where secrets are buried beneath centuries of tradition, a single discovery sent shockwaves through the monarchy. A palace official's phone, seemingly ordinary, revealed a trail of clandestine messages to a notorious tabloid editor. As whispers of betrayal echoed through royal halls, King Charles faced an unthinkable question. Was someone within his own inner circle orchestrating a calculated campaign against the crown, threatening not just his reign but the very foundation of royal trust? Buckingham Palace had always existed as a paradox, an emblem of serenity and continuity. Yet beneath its polished traditions lay a labyrinth of guarded conversations, silent alliances, and unspoken tensions. Staff moved with practiced discretion, bound by an unbreakable code of loyalty. Every document, every whispered exchange, and every passing glance carried the weight of history. It was within this atmosphere of disciplined secrecy that the discovery occurred, shattering the illusion of absolute trust that had long defined the royal household. The moment unfolded unexpectedly. During a routine internal review prompted by minor security concerns, a senior aide came across a misplaced mobile phone belonging to a trusted palace official. At first glance, it appeared insignificant, just another device in a world increasingly dominated by digital communication. Yet, as protocol required the device to be examined before its return, a series of notifications illuminated the screen. What emerged was deeply unsettling. A sequence of messages exchanged with a prominent tabloid editor, their tone discreet yet unmistakably conspiratorial. The realization was immediate and chilling. This was not idle gossip, but a deliberate channel of communication that hinted at betrayal from within. Shock rippled swiftly through the palace. Senior officials were discreetly alerted, and an atmosphere of quiet panic began to take hold. Conversations became hushed, footsteps more deliberate, and trust once taken for granted suddenly felt fragile. The discovery was escalated with urgency to the highest levels of the royal household, each layer of authority grappling with the same haunting question: how long had this breach gone unnoticed? The potential implications were staggering, threatening not only the privacy of the royal family, but also the integrity of the institution itself. When the matter was presented to King Charles, the emotional impact was profound. Known for his deep sense of duty and commitment to preserving the monarchy's legacy, the king initially struggled to reconcile the revelation with his enduring belief in loyalty among his staff. Disbelief gave way to a growing sense of suspicion, as he contemplated the possibility that someone within his trusted circle had been quietly undermining the crown. The betrayal was not merely professional, it was deeply personal, striking at the heart of his reign and the values he sought to uphold. The stakes could not have been higher. The monarchy's public image, carefully cultivated over generations, depended on an unwavering perception of unity and discretion. Any suggestion of internal betrayal risked eroding public confidence and fueling a media storm capable of destabilizing the institution. Early analysis of the messages suggested a troubling pattern. The timing of certain exchanges appeared to coincide with damaging tabloid stories, raising the specter of a coordinated effort to manipulate public narratives. Each revelation deepened the sense that this was not an isolated lapse in judgment, but potentially part of a far-reaching conspiracy hidden within the palace walls. As unease settled over Buckingham Palace, subtle signs of deeper intrigue began to surface. Staff members exchanged wary glances, and long-standing relationships were suddenly viewed through a lens of suspicion. The discovery of the phone was no longer seen as a singular incident, but rather the first thread in a tapestry of secrets waiting to be unraveled. For King Charles, the path forward demanded not only discretion but resolve, as he prepared to confront a mystery that threatened to challenge everything he believed about loyalty and trust. And as the king grappled with the implications of this betrayal, the question loomed larger than ever: who was the mysterious official at the center of this unfolding storm? Behind every royal operation stands a network of loyal servants sworn to absolute discretion, individuals who dedicate their lives to safeguarding the dignity and continuity of the crown. Yet now, one of these trusted figures stood accused of an unimaginable breach, casting a long and unsettling shadow over the very institution they had vowed to protect. How could someone so deeply embedded within the monarchy risk everything: career, reputation, and honor for a secret alliance with the press? As King Charles began to delve into the official's past, a portrait slowly emerged, layered with ambition, quiet resentment, and unparalleled access to the monarchy's most guarded secrets. The official in question was not a peripheral figure, but a seasoned member of the royal household, entrusted with responsibilities that placed them in close proximity to the king himself. For years, they had operated at the heart of palace operations, coordinating sensitive communications, managing confidential briefings, and serving as a discreet liaison between the monarch and key institutional stakeholders. Their role demanded unwavering loyalty and absolute silence, qualities they appeared to embody with remarkable consistency. To the outside world, and even to many within the palace, this individual represented the very definition of dedication to duty. Among colleagues, the official was regarded with a mixture of admiration and quiet intrigue. They were efficient, composed, and seemingly unflappable, earning the confidence of senior aides and the respect of junior staff. Yet beneath this polished exterior lingered an air of enigma. While never overtly controversial, they maintained a certain emotional distance, revealing little of their personal life or inner thoughts. In hindsight, some would recall fleeting moments, subtle pauses, guarded expressions, or carefully measured responses that hinted at a complexity few had fully understood. These fragments, once dismissed as quirks of personality, now took on a far more ominous significance. Life within the royal household is a paradox of privilege and pressure. Those who serve the monarchy are granted access to history in the making, yet they exist in a world defined by relentless scrutiny and rigid hierarchy. The official navigated this environment with apparent ease, attending high-level meetings, handling sensitive documentation, and bearing witness to the private struggles of the royal family. However, such proximity to power can be both intoxicating and isolating. The constant demand for discretion, coupled with the absence of public recognition, often breeds a quiet tension and internal conflict between loyalty and the human desire for acknowledgement. For this individual, that tension may have gradually evolved into something far more dangerous. As King Charles examined the official's history, subtle signs of discontent began to surface. There were moments when promotions had been delayed, instances where their contributions seemed overshadowed by others, and whispers of ambitions that extended beyond the confines of palace service. None of these factors alone suggested betrayal, yet together they painted a picture of a person wrestling with unfulfilled aspirations. The possibility emerged that the connection with the tabloid editor was not merely opportunistic but perhaps driven by a longing for influence, validation, or even quiet revenge against a system perceived as indifferent to their sacrifices. What made the situation particularly alarming was the breadth of information to which the official had access. From confidential royal schedules to intimate family discussions, their position granted them insight into matters of immense sensitivity. Such knowledge held undeniable value for tabloids eager to shape public narratives and capitalize on royal intrigue. The realization that these secrets might have been deliberately funneled to the media sent waves of anxiety through the palace, prompting colleagues to question not only the individual's motives, but also their own interactions and vulnerabilities. The emotional toll on the royal household was profound. Staff members who had once shared professional camaraderie with the official now grappled with feelings of disbelief and personal betrayal. Trust, the invisible thread binding the institution together, began to fray as speculation and uncertainty took hold. Conversations became cautious, and long-standing relationships were re-evaluated through a lens of suspicion. The sense of unity that had long characterized palace life was replaced by an undercurrent of unease, as if the very foundations of loyalty had been shaken. For King Charles, the investigation was deeply personal. Having long championed the values of service and integrity, he found himself confronting a painful paradox: the possibility that someone he had trusted implicitly may have exploited that trust for undisclosed motives. In private moments of reflection, the king grappled with questions that extended beyond the immediate crisis. Was this betrayal an isolated act of individual ambition, or did it signify a deeper vulnerability within the monarchy itself? His contemplation revealed not only a monarch determined to uncover the truth, but also a man wrestling with the emotional weight of disappointment and the enduring challenge of leadership in an age of relentless scrutiny. Yet, as revealing as this psychological portrait proved to be, understanding the individual was only the beginning. The true magnitude of the scandal and the answers to the questions haunting the king lay hidden within the messages themselves, waiting to expose a reality far more shocking than anyone within the palace had dared to imagine. When investigators finally unlocked the phone, what they uncovered was far more explosive than anyone within the palace had anticipated. Line after line of covert communication painted a chilling picture of calculated collaboration between a trusted palace insider and a powerful tabloid editor. Each message peeled back another layer of secrecy, suggesting that the monarchy's most private moments had not been accidentally exposed, but deliberately funneled into the public domain. What began as a troubling suspicion was now evolving into a revelation of staggering proportions, threatening to shake the very foundations of royal trust. The forensic examination was conducted with meticulous precision, guided by an urgent need to understand the full scope of the breach. Digital specialists worked tirelessly to recover not only visible conversations, but also fragments of data that had been intentionally deleted. Hidden beneath layers of encryption and erasure attempts, these recovered messages formed a damning timeline. They revealed a sustained pattern of communication that spanned months, possibly even years, indicating that this was not a momentary lapse in judgment, but a carefully maintained channel of information exchange. Every recovered text added weight to the growing sense that the palace had been quietly infiltrated from within. The nature of the communications was as unsettling as their existence. Rather than explicit disclosures, many messages employed coded language phrases that, on the surface, appeared innocuous but, when examined in context, carried unmistakable implications. References to upcoming announcements, sensitive family discussions, and timely opportunities suggested a deliberate effort to mask the true intent of the exchanges. Even more alarming was the strategic timing of these messages. Investigators noted that several communications preceded major tabloid headlines that had caused embarrassment or distress to the royal family. The synchronization between private conversations and public revelations painted a picture of calculated orchestration, transforming speculation into near certainty. As these findings were presented to King Charles, the emotional impact was profound and deeply personal. Each message represented not just a breach of protocol, but a violation of the trust upon which the monarchy depends. The king, long accustomed to the burdens of public scrutiny, now faced the painful realization that the threat had originated from within his own household. Disbelief gradually gave way to a somber resolve as he absorbed the implications of the evidence. The betrayal was no longer an abstract concept, it was documented in stark, undeniable detail, forcing the monarch to confront the unsettling truth that loyalty within the palace could no longer be assumed. Beyond the emotional ramifications, the legal and ethical implications of the breach loomed large. The unauthorized sharing of confidential information raised serious questions about violations of privacy, potential breaches of national security, and the erosion of institutional integrity. Advisors began to assess the possible legal consequences, weighing the need for accountability against the monarchy's long-standing preference for discretion. The situation demanded a delicate balance, pursuing justice without further destabilizing the public image of the crown. Each deliberation underscored the gravity of the crisis and the unprecedented challenges it posed. Speculation also emerged regarding the motivations behind the officials' actions. While ideological grievances and personal ambition were considered, the possibility of financial incentives could not be ignored. Investigators examined patterns that hinted at undisclosed transactions, suggesting that the leaks may have been monetized. Equally troubling was the notion that coercion or external pressure might have played a role, introducing the unsettling prospect that the official had been manipulated by forces beyond the palace's control. These possibilities expanded the narrative from a singular act of betrayal to a potentially complex web of influence and exploitation. As the investigation deepened, a growing realization took hold: this breach might not be an isolated incident, but part of a broader and more sophisticated scheme. The consistency of the communications, the strategic dissemination of information, and the potential involvement of external actors hinted at a network operating with calculated precision. What initially appeared to be the actions of one individual now suggested the existence of a larger conspiracy capable of undermining the monarchy from multiple angles. This emerging perspective intensified the urgency of the inquiry and heightened the sense of impending revelation. With the scale of the betrayal becoming undeniable and the evidence pointing toward a coordinated effort, attention inevitably shifted to the other party in this clandestine exchange, the enigmatic tabloid editor whose role in the unfolding scandal promised to reveal an even more disturbing dimension of the story. Tabloid journalism has long thrived on the mystique of the British monarchy, feeding on its grandeur while simultaneously challenging its authority. Yet this time, the relationship appeared far more sinister, entangled in a web of calculated influence and hidden agendas. The editor at the center of the scandal was no stranger to controversy, a figure whose reputation had been forged through relentless pursuit of royal secrets and an uncanny ability to shape national sentiment. As King Charles' investigation deepened, an unsettling question emerged. Was this merely another instance of sensationalism, or part of a deliberate campaign designed to manipulate the crown from the shadows? The editor's rise within the media landscape had been marked by audacity and strategic precision. Known for transforming whispers into headlines that dominated public discourse, they possessed an instinctive understanding of the monarchy's symbolic power. For years, their publication had oscillated between admiration and condemnation, celebrating royal milestones while simultaneously exposing alleged scandals. This duality fostered a complex persona, part chronicler of royal history, part architect of controversy. Their ability to command attention granted them significant influence, not only over readers, but also within political and social spheres, where public opinion often dictated the trajectory of national conversations. Historically, the relationship between tabloids and the monarchy has been symbiotic yet adversarial. The press relies on royal intrigue to sustain readership, while the monarchy depends on media visibility to maintain relevance in a rapidly changing society. However, this delicate balance is perpetually threatened by the pursuit of exclusivity. In this case, the discovery of direct communication between the editor and a palace insider suggested that the traditional boundaries had been dangerously breached. What once existed as a tense but mutually beneficial coexistence now appeared to have evolved into a covert alliance, raising profound questions about the integrity of both institutions. As investigators began to analyze the editor's recent headlines, a disturbing pattern emerged. Stories that had previously been dismissed as speculative or coincidental now seemed to align with the timeline of the recovered messages. Articles detailing private family disagreements, strategic royal decisions, and emotionally sensitive moments appeared with uncanny precision, often preceding official palace announcements. This synchronization suggested a level of foreknowledge that could not be attributed to journalistic intuition alone. Each headline, when viewed through the lens of the investigation, transformed into potential evidence of a coordinated effort to influence public perception and destabilize the monarchy's carefully curated image. Financial motivations inevitably became a focal point of the inquiry. Exclusive royal revelations have long been a lucrative commodity, capable of generating immense profits through increased circulation and digital engagement. Investigators explored the possibility that monetary incentives had played a role in sustaining the clandestine relationship, examining financial records for indications of undisclosed transactions. Yet the implications extended beyond mere profit. The potential for political leverage also loomed large, as the ability to shape narratives about the monarchy could indirectly influence governmental dynamics and public trust in national institutions. Such considerations elevated the scandal from a matter of personal betrayal to one of broader constitutional significance. The power of the media to shape public perception cannot be overstated. In an era dominated by rapid information exchange, a single headline possesses the capacity to redefine reputations and alter the course of public discourse. The editor's influence, therefore, represented not just a threat to individual members of the royal family, but to the stability of the institution itself. King Charles, acutely aware of this reality, approached the situation with a blend of caution and determination. His strategic considerations extended beyond addressing the immediate breach. He recognized the necessity of confronting the broader mechanisms that allowed such influence to flourish. Balancing the need for accountability with the risks of escalating tensions with the press became a defining challenge of his response. As the investigation progressed, subtle indications began to suggest that the editor might not have been acting alone. Patterns of information dissemination, connections within political and media circles, and the scale of the operation hinted at the possibility of a wider network operating behind the scenes. This prospect intensified the sense of urgency, transforming the scandal into a potential nexus of media manipulation and institutional vulnerability. The realization that unseen forces could be orchestrating events from the periphery cast an even darker shadow over the unfolding narrative. With the media's influence looming large and the specter of broader conspiracies taking shape, the investigation's focus inevitably shifted inward. The Crown now faced not only an external challenge but also the unsettling recognition that the seeds of betrayal may have taken root within its own ranks. As suspicion deepened and loyalties were questioned, the inquiry began to uncover fractures within the royal household itself, setting the stage for an even more profound reckoning. The scandal did more than threaten the monarchy's carefully cultivated public image. It tore through the palace like a silent storm, exposing deep-seated tensions that had long simmered beneath the surface. What had once been a sanctuary of unity and tradition now felt charged with suspicion. As whispers of betrayal spread through the royal household, alliances were tested and long-standing relationships strained to their limits. For King Charles, the investigation transformed into something far more personal than a search for truth. It became an emotionally draining journey through the intricate web of loyalty, rivalry, and unspoken grievances that defined life within the monarchy. Paranoia began to take root among palace staff, subtly at first, then with increasing intensity. Conversations that once flowed freely became guarded, and even the most routine interactions were shadowed by uncertainty. Individuals who had served side by side for years found themselves questioning one another's intentions, wondering whether the betrayal extended beyond the single official already implicated. The sense of security that had long characterized palace life was replaced by an atmosphere of quiet apprehension. Every glance carried new meaning, every silence felt heavy with implication, and the once unshakable foundation of trust began to fracture under the weight of suspicion. As the investigation progressed, conflicting theories about the motives behind the leak emerged, further deepening the tension. Some believed the official had acted out of personal ambition, seeking influence or recognition in a system that often demanded loyalty without acknowledgement. Others speculated that financial incentives had played a decisive role, suggesting that the lure of profit had proven too powerful to resist. Still more unsettling were whispers of coercion or manipulation, raising the possibility that external forces had exploited vulnerabilities within the palace to orchestrate the betrayal. These competing narratives fueled an environment of uncertainty, leaving staff and senior advisors grappling with the unsettling realization that the truth might be far more complex than initially assumed. The emotional toll on senior members of the royal household was profound. Advisors who had dedicated their lives to safeguarding the monarchy found themselves confronting a crisis that struck at the very heart of their mission. Feelings of disbelief and personal betrayal were compounded by the immense responsibility of managing the fallout. For some, the scandal rekindled memories of past controversies, intensifying fears that the monarchy's hard-won stability could once again be jeopardized. The strain was not limited to professional concerns. It permeated personal relationships, testing bonds forged through years of shared service and mutual reliance. Within this atmosphere of mounting tension, internal debates over how to handle the scandal became increasingly urgent. Some advisors advocated for swift and decisive action, arguing that transparency would demonstrate strength and restore public confidence. Others urged caution, emphasizing the risks of further damaging the monarchy's reputation by exposing internal vulnerabilities. These discussions were often marked by passionate disagreement, reflecting the high stakes involved and the absence of a clear path forward. Each perspective carried its own set of risks and consequences, leaving the royal household grappling with the delicate balance between accountability and preservation. At the center of this turmoil stood King Charles, whose leadership was tested in ways few could have anticipated. Confronted with the dual challenges of personal betrayal and institutional crisis, he approached the situation with a quiet determination that underscored his commitment to duty. The king sought to maintain a sense of stability within the palace, offering reassurance to those shaken by the unfolding events, while simultaneously guiding the investigation toward a resolution. Yet beneath this composed exterior lay a profound emotional struggle. The realization that the betrayal might extend beyond a single individual weighed heavily on him, prompting difficult questions about the resilience of the institution he had sworn to protect. Speculation regarding the potential involvement of additional insiders further intensified the atmosphere of unease. Investigators began to examine patterns of communication and access, exploring the possibility that the officials' actions were part of a broader network of complicity. Even the suggestion of such a scenario was enough to deepen existing fractures within the palace, as staff grappled with the unsettling notion that loyalty could no longer be assumed. The monarchy's struggle to maintain unity and composure became increasingly evident, with every new revelation threatening to unravel the fragile sense of cohesion that had long defined its identity. As internal tensions escalated and the weight of uncertainty continued to mount, King Charles faced an increasingly pressing dilemma. The time was approaching when silence would no longer be sustainable, and the decision of how and whether to reveal the truth to the world began to loom with undeniable urgency. For King Charles, the investigation had evolved far beyond the boundaries of politics and royal protocol. It struck deeply at the core of his identity, as both sovereign and father. Each new revelation did not merely present a constitutional challenge, but ignited an intensely personal struggle, forcing him to confront an agonizing dilemma. Should he shield the monarchy from scandal at all costs, or risk exposing painful truths that could reverberate through his family and the nation? The weight of centuries of tradition rested heavily upon his shoulders, pressing against his conscience with an unrelenting force. The emotional burden borne by the king was immense. As the custodian of an institution defined by continuity and resilience, he understood that every decision carried consequences far beyond the present moment. The betrayal uncovered within his own household felt deeply personal, not simply as a monarch responsible for safeguarding the crown, but as a man who had placed his trust in those around him. Feelings of disappointment and sorrow were intertwined with a profound sense of responsibility. The investigation forced him to reckon with the painful realization that loyalty, the very cornerstone of royal service, had been compromised in a manner that threatened the stability of everything he had dedicated his life to preserving. Balancing transparency with the need to safeguard the monarchy became a delicate and complex task. On one hand, the king recognized that openness could restore public confidence and demonstrate a commitment to accountability. On the other, he was acutely aware that revealing the full extent of the scandal risked inflicting lasting damage on the institution's reputation and potentially destabilizing the delicate relationship between the monarchy and the public. This internal conflict created a tension that was both moral and strategic, compelling him to weigh the virtues of honesty against the imperative of protection. Every option carried inherent risks, and the absence of a clear path forward intensified the gravity of his decision. In seeking guidance, King Charles engaged in extensive consultations with legal and constitutional advisors. These discussions were marked by careful deliberation, as experts examined the potential ramifications of various courses of action. Questions of legal accountability, privacy, and constitutional precedent were scrutinized with meticulous attention. Advisors presented differing perspectives, some advocating for decisive public disclosure to uphold principles of justice, while others emphasized the importance of discretion to prevent further erosion of institutional stability. These consultations underscored the unprecedented nature of the crisis, revealing that the king's decision would not only address the immediate scandal, but also set a defining precedent for the future of the monarchy. Amid these formal deliberations, the king experienced private moments of reflection that revealed the depth of his inner conflict. Away from the demands of public duty, he grappled with questions that transcended legal and political considerations. What did it mean to lead an institution built on trust when that trust had been so profoundly violated? How could he reconcile his role as a guardian of tradition with his personal commitment to integrity and justice? These contemplations exposed the human dimension of his leadership, highlighting the emotional toll of navigating a crisis that blurred the boundaries between public responsibility and personal conviction. The potential impact on the royal family's legacy weighed heavily on his mind. The monarchy is not merely a political entity, but a symbol of national identity, continuity, and shared history. Any decision made in response to the scandal would inevitably shape how future generations perceive the institution. The king understood that his actions would be scrutinized not only in the present, but also in the annals of history. Protecting the legacy of the crown required a careful balance between preserving its dignity and demonstrating an unwavering commitment to ethical principles. Ethical considerations surrounding justice and loyalty further complicated the dilemma. Pursuing accountability for the betrayal was essential to restoring trust within the palace, Yet such actions risked exposing vulnerabilities that could be exploited by external forces. Conversely, prioritizing loyalty and discretion might safeguard the institution in the short term, but could undermine the moral authority upon which the monarchy depends. This intricate interplay of values created a profound moral quandary, compelling the king to confront the essence of what it meant to lead with integrity in an era of relentless scrutiny. As the investigation progressed, subtle indications suggested that a decisive turning point was approaching. The accumulation of evidence, the intensifying public speculation, and the mounting pressure from advisors and family members all converged to create a moment of reckoning. King Charles recognized that the time for deliberation was drawing to a close, and that his forthcoming decision would define not only the outcome of the crisis, but also the trajectory of his reign. As the king approached this critical juncture, the outside world began to sense that something monumental was unfolding behind palace gates, with anticipation building and speculation intensifying about the revelation that would soon emerge. Rumors began as faint murmurs, barely audible beyond the guarded confines of Buckingham Palace, but they quickly gathered momentum, seeping into the public sphere with unstoppable force. What started as discreet whispers among journalists soon ignited a media frenzy that threatened to spiral beyond anyone's control. Speculation dominated headlines, each outlet vying to piece together fragments of an unfolding scandal that hinted at betrayal within the monarchy. The public's fascination with royal intrigue surged to a fever pitch, and as commentators raced to uncover the truth, King Charles found himself confronting the daunting challenge of maintaining authority over a narrative that was rapidly slipping from his grasp. The emergence of these rumors was both sudden and relentless. Anonymous sources began alluding to an internal investigation, suggesting that a palace insider had been implicated in clandestine communications with a powerful tabloid editor. While details remained scarce, the ambiguity only fueled further speculation. Media organizations dissected every available clue, constructing theories that ranged from personal ambition to elaborate conspiracies designed to destabilize the crown. Each speculative report intensified public curiosity, transforming the scandal into a national obsession and placing unprecedented scrutiny on the royal household. Public reaction was swift and emotionally charged. Across social media platforms, conversations erupted with a mixture of shock, indignation, and fascination. Supporters of the monarchy expressed concern over the apparent breach of trust, emphasizing the importance of preserving the institution's dignity. Critics, however, seized the moment to question the transparency and relevance of the royal family in a modern society. Hashtags trended globally, opinion polls reflected shifting sentiments, and digital forums became arenas for passionate debate. The scandal transcended geographical boundaries, captivating audiences worldwide and underscoring the enduring power of the monarchy to command global attention. Amid this escalating storm, pressure mounted on the palace to issue an official statement. Silence, once a strategic tool for maintaining discretion, now risked being interpreted as evasion or weakness. Advisors urged King Charles to address the growing speculation, recognizing that public confidence hinged on the perception of decisive leadership. Yet any premature disclosure carried significant risks, potentially compromising the integrity of the ongoing investigation. This delicate balancing act created an atmosphere of intense urgency as the monarchy grappled with the challenge of responding to public demand, while safeguarding its internal processes. In response, palace officials initiated a series of strategic communication efforts aimed at stabilizing the situation. Carefully worded briefings emphasized the monarchy's commitment to integrity and accountability, while avoiding confirmation of specific allegations. These measured statements sought to reassure the public without inflaming the media's appetite for sensationalism. Behind the scenes, communication teams worked tirelessly to monitor public sentiment and anticipate potential developments, understanding that every word released to the public carried profound implications for the institution's reputation. Meanwhile, the tabloid editor at the center of the controversy faced mounting scrutiny. Rather than retreating into silence, the editor adopted a defiant stance, issuing statements that denied wrongdoing while subtly reinforcing the publication's reputation for fearless journalism. This response further intensified tensions between the palace and the press, transforming the scandal into a broader confrontation over media ethics and institutional accountability. The editor's calculated rhetoric suggested a readiness to challenge the monarchy's narrative, raising the stakes of an already volatile situation. As the standoff escalated, the relationship between the palace and the media grew increasingly adversarial. Journalists intensified their investigative efforts, seeking confirmation of rumors and pursuing leads that hinted at deeper layers of intrigue. The monarchy, in turn, reinforced its commitment to discretion, striving to maintain composure amid the mounting pressure. This clash of interests created a charged atmosphere in which every development was scrutinized and amplified, further heightening public anticipation. With each passing day, the sense that a dramatic revelation was imminent became impossible to ignore. The convergence of media speculation, public curiosity, and internal deliberations signaled that the crisis was approaching a moment. The world watched with bated breath, aware that the impending disclosure would not merely resolve the scandal, but potentially redefine the future of the monarchy itself. With anticipation building worldwide, the stage was set for a revelation that would redefine the monarchy's future. In a moment laden with tension and consequence, King Charles confronted the individual at the center of the scandal, an encounter that carried the weight of history and the fragile future of the crown. This was not merely a meeting between a monarch and a subordinate. It was a reckoning shaped by betrayal, loyalty, and the relentless pursuit of truth. The atmosphere surrounding the confrontation was charged with unspoken emotion, as the king prepared to face someone who had once stood within his circle of trust. What would unfold in this private exchange would determine not only the fate of those directly involved, but also the integrity and resilience of the monarchy itself. As the confrontation began, the king's composure reflected years of discipline and duty, yet beneath this calm exterior lay a profound sense of personal disappointment. The palace official, once regarded as a model of loyalty, now stood exposed by the weight of undeniable evidence. The silence between them carried more meaning than words ever could. A silent acknowledgement of the trust that had been shattered. When the king finally spoke, his voice conveyed both authority and sorrow, seeking not only answers but also an understanding of how such a betrayal could have taken root within the very institution it threatened to undermine. The revelations that followed were both startling and deeply human. The official admitted to engaging in the clandestine exchanges, but the motivations behind these actions proved far more complex than simple malice. A mixture of personal ambition, lingering resentment, and a yearning for recognition emerged as driving forces. Years of service, often unacknowledged and overshadowed by the grandeur of royal life, had fostered a quiet sense of disillusionment. This vulnerability had been skillfully exploited by the tabloid editor, who recognized the opportunity to gain unprecedented access to the monarchy's inner workings. The confession transformed the narrative from one of cold calculation to a tragic intersection of human frailty and external manipulation. The emotional intensity of the exchange was undeniable. Expressions of regret and remorse from the official were met with the king's solemn acknowledgement of the pain inflicted upon the royal household. For King Charles, the moment transcended institutional duty. It was a deeply personal confrontation with the fragility of trust. His response balanced compassion with an unwavering commitment to justice, reflecting the moral complexity of leadership in times of crisis. The dialogue underscored the profound consequences of betrayal, not only for the individuals involved, but also for the broader institution that relied on unwavering loyalty to maintain its stability. Central to the confession was the confirmation of the tabloid editor's involvement. The official revealed that the relationship had evolved gradually, beginning with seemingly innocuous conversations before escalating into a calculated exchange of sensitive information. Financial incentives and promises of influence had reinforced the collaboration, while subtle pressures ensured its continuation. This confirmation validated the investigators' suspicions and illuminated the extent to which external forces had penetrated the palace's protective boundaries. The scandal was no longer confined to an internal breach. It represented a coordinated effort that blurred the lines between media ambition and institutional vulnerability. Faced with these revelations, King Charles was compelled to make decisive choices regarding accountability and consequences. Guided by principles of integrity and justice, he authorized immediate actions to address the breach. The official was relieved of their duties, and legal consultations were initiated to determine the appropriate course of action. Simultaneously, the king sanctioned a comprehensive review of palace protocols, aiming to strengthen safeguards against future violations. These decisions signaled a clear message: the monarchy would confront betrayal with transparency and resolve, reaffirming its commitment to ethical governance. Yet beyond these immediate measures, the king's response was also characterized by a forward-looking vision. Recognizing that the restoration of trust required more than punitive action, he emphasized the importance of unity and resilience within the royal household. Efforts were undertaken to support staff affected by the crisis, fostering an environment of renewed confidence and shared purpose. Through these actions, King Charles demonstrated a steadfast determination to transform adversity into an opportunity for institutional renewal, reinforcing the enduring values upon which the monarchy is built. As the confrontation concluded, the immediate crisis appeared to subside, yet its reverberations extended far beyond the palace walls. The revelations had reshaped public perception, challenged long-standing assumptions about loyalty, and underscored the complex interplay between tradition and modern scrutiny. While decisive steps had been taken to address the scandal, the broader implications continued to unfold, casting a long shadow over the future of the monarchy. And so, even as the palace sought to regain its equilibrium, it became increasingly evident that this defining moment would leave an indelible mark on the crown, with consequences that would resonate for years to come. When the dust finally settled, the scandal left an indelible mark on the British monarchy, echoing far beyond the palace walls and embedding itself into the narrative of King Charles's reign. What had begun as a shocking betrayal sparked by a single phone and a trail of clandestine messages evolved into a defining moment of reckoning. It was a crisis that tested not only the resilience of the institution but also the personal strength and moral conviction of the king himself. As the world watched with rapt attention, the monarchy stood at a crossroads, compelled to confront its vulnerabilities and reimagine its future in the face of unprecedented scrutiny. The long-term consequences for those directly involved were both decisive and symbolic. The palace official, once a trusted confidant within the royal household, faced the full weight of accountability. Stripped of their position and legacy of service, their fall from grace became a stark reminder of the consequences of betrayal within an institution built upon unwavering loyalty. Legal proceedings and public condemnation ensured that their actions would not be quietly forgotten, serving as a cautionary tale for future generations of royal staff. Similarly, the tabloid editor, whose calculated pursuit of influence had fueled the scandal, encountered intensified scrutiny from both regulatory bodies and the public. Their reputation, once defined by journalistic audacity, became synonymous with ethical transgression, prompting broader conversations about the boundaries of media power and responsibility. In response to the crisis, King Charles initiated a series of institutional reforms designed to safeguard the monarchy against future breaches of trust. Internal communication protocols were rigorously reassessed, with enhanced security measures implemented to protect sensitive information. New frameworks for accountability and oversight were introduced, reinforcing a culture of transparency without compromising the discretion essential to royal operations. These reforms were not merely administrative adjustments. They represented a profound commitment to renewal, signaling the monarchy's determination to evolve in an era defined by rapid technological change and heightened public expectation. The scandal also catalyzed a significant shift in the monarchy's relationship with the media. For decades, this relationship had oscillated between cooperation and confrontation, sustained by an unspoken understanding of mutual dependence. However, the revelations exposed the dangers of unchecked influence and blurred ethical boundaries. Under King Charles' leadership, the palace adopted a more strategic and measured approach to media engagement, emphasizing integrity and accountability. By fostering clearer lines of communication and reinforcing ethical standards, the monarchy sought to rebuild public trust while maintaining its relevance within an increasingly complex media landscape. Public perception of King Charles underwent a notable transformation in the aftermath of the crisis. Initially confronted with skepticism and uncertainty, the king's decisive and principled response gradually reshaped his image. His willingness to confront betrayal with transparency and resolve resonated with audiences both within the United Kingdom and across the globe. Rather than diminishing his authority, The scandal ultimately reinforced his reputation as a leader capable of navigating adversity with dignity and moral clarity. This renewed public confidence played a crucial role in stabilizing the monarchy's standing during a period of profound uncertainty. Within the royal family, the path toward emotional healing was both delicate and deeply significant. The scandal had strained relationships and rekindled memories of past challenges, yet it also fostered a renewed sense of unity. Through private reflection and mutual support, family members began to reconcile the pain of betrayal with a shared commitment to the institution they represented. This process of healing underscored the human dimension of the monarchy, revealing that beneath its ceremonial grandeur lay a network of personal bonds shaped by resilience and compassion. In the broader context of royal history, the scandal assumed a place of enduring significance. It joined a lineage of transformative moments that had tested the monarchy's adaptability and reaffirmed its capacity for reinvention. Historians and commentators would later view this episode not merely as a crisis, but as a catalyst for evolution, marking a pivotal chapter in the ongoing story of the crown. The themes of trust, loyalty, and redemption that emerged from the ordeal resonated deeply, offering valuable lessons about the enduring strength of institutions willing to confront their own imperfections. Ultimately, the legacy of the scandal extended beyond the individuals involved, shaping the trajectory of the monarchy for years to come. King Charles's response demonstrated that adversity, when met with courage and integrity, could serve as a powerful impetus for renewal. The institution emerged not unscathed, but undeniably strengthened its foundations, reinforced by the very challenges that had once threatened to undermine it. And as the monarchy stepped into this new era, carrying with it the lessons of betrayal and the promise of transformation, one question lingered in the minds of observers around the world: had this crisis merely exposed hidden fractures, or had it ultimately forged a stronger, more resilient crown?